Hello, everyone who's here. We are waiting on Nathalie Kelley. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I just saw a comment that Natalie is waiting for me on her Instagram. So, let's see if this works. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody.
Hi.
Natalie, hi.
Hi, I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine. This was relatively seamless. How are you?
Okay, good. I'm great. Thank you. I got a little nervous. I panicked because at 4 on the dot, I didn't see you were live. So I was like, oh, it must mean that I'm supposed to do it. So
Technical difficulties. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Oh, we're
yeah,
here now.
okay. Here we are.
Hi,
Thanks for
Nat.
having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. Just so everybody knows, I'm Jack Smart. I'm the awards editor at Backstage. I'm here with Nathalie Kelley. Natalie, thank you for joining us.
I'm honored to be featured here because as an actor, you have been such an invaluable resource in my life. So this is like, I said to my friend, I'm pinching myself more now for this Instagram live than I was when I saw a billboard of the show.
Oh, that's so good to hear. So you know Backstage. Did you ever use
Of
Backstage?
course. Yes,
Uh,
yeah, of course.
that's the best. What kind of stuff did you go out for? At what point in was this early in your career?
This was earlier on. Yeah, definitely earlier on before I just kind of just trusted that my agents would kind of manage it. I kind of I've ended up becoming an actress who doesn't want to work, like unless it's really right. I just
Got
have done so many
Okay.
things where I have really tried to fit myself into a box,
Yeah.
because I wanted the job, which is valid. Like we want to work, we want to support ourselves as actors, but like those experiences were not always really fulfilling for me. So it got
Gotcha.
to the point where I was like, I'd rather support myself financially other ways so that I can do the things that feel right to me.
Okay.
Instead of trying to make it like scrolling, looking for parts, thinking, oh, I could be, like I just trust my gut a little more now and don't try to force it.
Excellent. Yeah. You don't want to say yes to quite everything.
Yes, well, it's not like I have all the offers rolling in, but it's
Well,
more
no one
just
does.
like, yeah, it's more just like in the beginning you're fueled a little bit by desperation, which is understandable. We're artists, and it just took me a while to make that transition over and to be like, you know what, I'm gonna just trust that, because it was actually disheartening to be
Yeah.
trying to fit into things that were not me. I think it was doing myself as an artist more, I was doing myself a disservice.
Yeah.
So now I just wait to go out for things that I feel like this resonates.
Amazing. Amazing. So we invited you here today to, of course, talk actorly nerdy stuff, but there's a lot going on in the world. And I almost want to ask you, like, how are you these days? What's been going on in terms of the career? Is everything put on hold? It's so great that Baker and the Beauty was filmed and ready to be released, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for checking in with me, Jack. I'm actually doing good. We wrapped filming a week before the pandemic hit and everything shut down.
Wow.
So we're just like so incredibly blessed to have gotten the show in the can. More so because the show is so right for the times we're in
Yeah.
that it's like such like it's such a medicinal dose of laughter and love, and it's
Yeah.
really making people feel good, and not in a cheesy way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get like, sometimes this is a guilty pleasure without the guilt. That's what I call Baker and the Beauty. You feel uplifted rather than like, oh God, how did I just spend the last hour of my life,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally.
So
And
I'm grateful. Pardon?
we could use something uplifting these days. It's sort of the perfect show for the times.
Yeah, not that we knew that when we were filming it. We had no idea
Totally.
that it was going to come out in times of COVID, but like it has been a bit of it's just been a bit of a silver lining to know, like there's been like the comments are so beautiful. There's like doctors messaging saying, "Hey, we watched this on our break. when we're on the night shift, and it's just an opportunity for everybody to kind of like, you know, switch off from the density and the, you know, the intensity of everything, and just enjoy ourselves for an hour. And so comments like that are really beautiful. And then, you know, I was myself as an actress, I was planning on not taking any work during this time anyway, because Baker and the Beauty was so time consuming, and I just really, like I said, I like to not work as much as I like to work. And so I don't feel personally too affected in terms of the slowdown of things, but it is a little nerve-wracking to look at the industry and to imagine like when are we going to go back to work, you know? Like what does that even look like in this age of COVID?
It's very stressful. I mean, do you have any advice in terms of actors and artists in general? Like, are you doing anything to stay engaged or like stay inspired? Is there anything you're watching or consuming that's kind of like getting your juices flowing?
I'm telling the truth. I've only watched one show this whole quarantine. Yes. And when I was filming the show, everybody was like, oh my God, have you seen Succession? Have you seen, I'm listing all these amazing shows. Okay. And I was like, guys, I'm going to get to it when I'm done filming, because I'm somebody that like, I can't take in so much information, you know? And then now that we're not filming and I have all the time in the world, I have my book list is this big, and I feel like guilty, like for you know, but then I'm missing out on so much great programming. Like I'm hearing amazing things about so many different shows. I really want to watch Normal People. I hear that's really good. And you got any other recommendations for me when I start?
Westworld is fun. It's funny, like what's escapist and what's not, you know?
I love Westworld.
Yeah.
Westworld's intelligent. It feels like, again, like a worthy escape. Like you feel smarter at the end of it.
Yeah, totally. Well, I feel like there's a trend going on right now where everyone is baking indoors. Like, and I think that's almost another reason why Baker and the Beauty is maybe resonating right now, is that aspect of it, which is like one of the most beautiful aspects of the show. Just like the food, everything's beautifully filmed. It's like, it is that escapism.
Totally. Yeah. I wish I could say I'm also partaking in the baking, but I'm gluten-free. So imagine the tempting time I had on set around all those delicious pastries and pastelitos and not being able to eat anything.
That's too funny. Oh no. So how did you get involved originally? Was there an audition process to play the Beauty?
Yeah, there was big time. And I had just said to my agents, because it was like my first pilot season since in a while, in like 2 or 3 years, because I had been on Vampire Diaries and then Dynasty, and so I hadn't done a pilot season, and I was feeling like a bit of pressure. And I said to them, and I actually have never booked anything during pilot season, maybe one thing in my 15 years of acting. That scenario is so heightened and stressful. It is not where I do my best work. And I'm really hoping, I feel a lot of actors feel the same way. And I'm really hoping as TV changes that like we can figure out a better way to do this, because it just feels like Russian roulette, and like it doesn't, I don't know if the best people necessarily get cast for things, because it is such a stressful process. So I had given my agents a disclaimer and said, I just want you to know, I don't plan on booking anything this pilot season. I'm not putting any pressure on myself. So please, just let me take it easy. Maybe I'll book something towards the end of the year. But I've recognized that when I put pressure on myself, I don't do well. So I just want to, and actually my agent sent me this really beautiful video by Bryan Cranston. Actually, shout out to Louise Keshavaya, my agent at Gersh, because this video really changed my life. And Bryan Cranston talks about embodying a character, and how he used to think that he needed to go in and be what they try to imagine what they were, what they had envisioned for a character, and be that version that they wanted. And then he realized one day, they don't know, they're looking for me to bring it. and
Yeah,
and
cool.
and it was like this switch went off in my head. And then like a few days later I got the audition for Noah, and I realized like, wow, a lot of people are going to go in and play the idea of what they are looking for, of this
Sure.
famous person.
Yeah.
But I think I have enough experience around celebrities and stuff, and just in my own world, that I could build this from like, I could make it coming from me.
Yeah.
And I actually just did an Instagram live with the creator Dean Georgaris a few weeks ago, and I took the opportunity to ask him and say, why did you pick me
What
as
was it?
Noah?
Yeah.
What was it that I had? And he goes, well, you know, a lot of people were trying to like he's like, famous people have this air of like entitlement and ego around them. And he's like, a lot of people were trying to come in and play that overtly. He's like, but you just had it innately. And I was like, great. So I had an innate sense of a big ego. Awesome. But I think he was referring to just like, yes, a quality that I was embodying myself rather than playing at something.
Totally, totally, totally. Is there a similarity? Do you think you're similar to Noah? Is there an overlap there?
For sure. I think that's why some characters work for you and some characters don't.
Right.
I think, yeah. And I think also, I don't know if you've watched the original, the Israeli version is really good. It's on Amazon Prime for everybody. It's very different. It's like the indie version of what we're doing. And their Noah is quite bitchy, and it's really interesting. Like, I loved it. And that's kind of what made me want to do it, because the original was so great. And you know, like, it wasn't reading when I was trying to like, not that I was trying to copy her, but like when we were still tooling around with who this Noah was, so for some reason that was not resonating. And so they really started to tailor this Noah around me and the qualities that I have, which is like, you know, I have like a big heart for social justice. And you know, then in episode 3 she goes to Puerto Rico to raise money to build schools. I'm not saying I've ever done anything that grand. I would love to. But I think there's a little bit of feeding off one another, you know. But Noah is also famous in a way that I have no desire to be, like zero desire to be. It's much more fun to play a person that famous than to actually be one, I've discovered.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, because she's A-list, A-list, A-list.
Yeah.
And you're, I mean, no
I'd
one
like to be, if there's a way to be A-list, 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 and also have all your privacy and be completely incognito, I would like to aim for that. But you can see that like those things are not always synonymous.
I mean, no, the show is proving that that's just impossible, especially these days. So
totally.
Yeah. We like to ask, thank you. This is so lovely to talk to you. We love to ask these backstagey questions. For example, your big break, or how did you get your SAG card? Do you remember how you got your Screen Actors Guild card?
Yeah. I was 20. I was just turned 20, and I was in Australia, and I had wanted to, you know, I had done a couple of commercials in Australia, but, you know, like didn't have, I'd taken some acting classes and was like, definitely that was a desire in my heart. But I didn't have the desire to like go to LA and really just like, I didn't have the ambition to really slog it out and like put in that hard work. It just felt like, you know, 1 in a million make it, you know. And so at that point in Australia, I still had my little acting agent, and I hadn't even been able to book a commercial for 2 years.
Okay.
And I was studying in university at the same time, and I was just like, you know what? I think this is a sign that I've got to put down this silly acting dream, because if I can't even book a commercial, then this is just like wasting my time, you know, when I need to be focusing on my studies. And so then it was literally like, it was going to be the last audition I ever took. It came my way. It was for a pilot for the WB at the time. And I read for it, and they put me on tape. And within a few days, my little agent in Australia, she couldn't believe it. She was like, "You'll never believe it. They want to fly you to LA and do a test for Aaron Spelling." And I was like, "What is a test?" Like, you know?
Right. Right.
And so it was this really like needle in a haystack kind of like plucked me out of nowhere thing. I ended up
Whirlwind.
booking the pilot, and then that's how I got my wonderful manager Joni Burstein. And it all kind of like, and then 3 months later I booked Fast and Furious
Okay.
Tokyo Drift.
Cool.
So for me it happened overnight, and everything that everybody works really hard for, which is the SAG card, the agent, the manager, that happened instantly and very easily. What didn't happen for me instantly was work preceding or following Tokyo Drift. It took another 15 years for me to like finally book the roles that I really wanted to play. But that's another story. So getting your SAG card and getting a role that you feel is really aligned with you, there could be like a huge chunk of time in between there.
There's so many ebbs and flows. Everything you just described is so, I mean, that's just typical of that's being a working actor, right?
Yeah.
Saying, you guys,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so resilient. You get your big break, and then sometimes there's a break between the big breaks.
If you would have told me, like, listen, it's going to take you 15 years, Nathalie, to be doing the kind of work that you'll be really proud of, I probably wouldn't have stuck in for that long. But like at the time, you don't know. But oh my God. And I just want to say that out there to other actors, you know, like after the Fast and Furious, I kind of put myself in a weird situation where I felt like, oh, the ego kind of stepped in, and I was like, oh, well, I've been a lead actress in a big movie now, so I can't do commercials and things like that, you know? And it put me in a bind and left me really struggling for money. And so there were times when I would clean my friend's apartment for the money to pay for my acting classes. And like, I just want to say, like, you know, like there's going to be a lot of ego deaths and like humility, lessons in humility on this path. And if you just welcome them, like, then yeah, you'll have an easier time than I did, because oftentimes they would really hurt me. I'd be like, but that's not how I see myself. But that was the reality. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, that was actually one of my questions, was what is your number one piece of advice for your younger self if you could go back in time? But it sounds like it has everything to do with like, check your ego.
Yeah, and don't be humble, you know, and it's okay to be learning. I still go to class. I think in the beginning I had a lot of, because I had booked all these little things early on before having an acting coach, I thought like, oh, I must have something innate. I just think that's true of very few people. And like, you know, this is a craft that you've got to work on. I wish I had checked my ego earlier on in my career to, you know, enroll in class sooner. But yeah, it would just be to just like, you know, check your ego at the door, because this is a craft and you're going to have to work at it, and it's not always going to be easy.
Yeah, that's fabulous advice. That's excellent advice for anyone at any point in their acting career. We like to ask this one too. I know it's reliving traumas, but you mentioned these gnarly auditions. Do you have a worst audition horror story
Oh my God.
you want to share?
I think I've done a lot of, I just remember one, and it was for some like Eastern European horror film. Like it was one of those ones where you walk into like a production offices that do not seem legitimate, and it's like there's a weird smell in the hallway, and you're still there like, oh my God, hoping that you're like they're gonna pick you, even though you can just sense that like this movie does not feel like it's legitimate or definitely not good quality. And as somebody who like I grew up only watching like art house independent movies, you know, like for me to be like, that was where a lot of my ego came in as well, where I'm like, I would never watch anything like this, yet I'm desperate to play this role of the girl who gets chopped up into little pieces. Okay. So, you know, and I just remember like she had me do something like really improvised. It was like a German director, and I had to like, she was throwing words at me and I had to like embody them somehow. It was very like, it was not a traditional audition session. Okay. And afterwards I felt like that was weird, but I feel like I nailed it. And then I got a call from my manager, and she was like, what happened? I said, it was
Oh,
very weird, but I just like rolled with it. And yeah, I feel like I nailed it. She goes, well, when I called for feedback, she said that you probably should consider another career. And I was
oh,
like, what? I put myself out there to do this like weird audition
oh,
technique and thought I nailed it, and she's giving feedback like this girl sucks. I mean, at the time it was like super painful, obviously, but like now thankfully I can look back on it and laugh.
good. Boy, that feedback is brutal. Wow.
I know,
You
right?
mentioned watching
Wait,
lots of.
people are saying that my connection isn't good.
Uh-oh.
Guys, is it okay?
Is that better?
I think now you're
Is that better?
freezing.
Am I freezing?
Oh, the
Testing one,
quality.
two, three. This
Shoot.
is going to happen. Technical
Okay, well,
difficulties. Can you still hear
I
me?
have I have both my cellular and Wi-Fi on, so can someone land a
Yeah,
role
same.
without starting from nude or kissing? Yes, I would love to be nude, and nobody's asked me to be nude. So trust me, you can. I'm from Australia. We love nudity in films. I'm trying to be nude while the leaf is green. All right. Yes, you can totally you can totally land good roles without being nude or kissing. Like Lucas Black, is that his name? Oh my God, from Fast and Furious. He didn't want to kiss me in the film. He actually, yeah, they had to like film it. I don't know if it was with a double or something where our lips came kind of close and then they put somebody else in. It
Oh
was
my.
really weird. So there are definitely people who don't want to kiss.
Ah, okay. Wow. That's
She's
so amazing.
saying that they're saying the connection is bad. I don't know what to do. Should I turn my Wi-Fi off?
This is maybe, sure. This occasionally happens with our Instagram. This occasionally happens with our, oh, you look, I can see you now. Hi.
Okay. Sorry, guys. That must have been frustrating. I wish I'd tuned into that
All
earlier. All right. Here, yes, I'm here. Any more
right.
questions?
Hi. No worries that this kind of thing is going to happen. We're all figuring out technology these days. And I think also like Wi-Fi and internet are like shaky with everybody using it all the time. So
I'm sure.
one more question for you. You have a big social media following, obviously. I'm wondering if you have advice for actors at any point in their career. What do you think actors should know about using social media? How can they use it to kind of maximize their careers?
I don't know if I'm the right person for that because I have such a love-hate relationship with
Okay.
social media as an actress. To be honest, I yearn for the days when we just didn't have to do this. It's like an extra element, you know?
Okay.
Like you go through the process of auditioning and being rejected and finally booking a role, and maybe that role is lucky enough to that show gets picked up, and if you're lucky you finish a season and then it airs, and then like you've gone through this whole process, and now
Totally.
when you think you're done, it's like, okay, now devote the rest of your time to promoting this show 24/7 on
Totally.
your own channel. And it's like that didn't always used to happen, and now there's
Yeah.
this like expectation, you know. And I struggle with it, to be honest, because on the one hand, obviously I want to have like promote the show so people watch it because it's a
Right.
great show and we want to do a season 2. And obviously it would be silly not to engage my fan base. But
Right.
it's like, it's tough. I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm actually asking you guys, like, what do you think is too much? Like, I worry, like, not everybody, the show's not going to be for everybody. And I personally, I like really like to use my social media for activism, for raising awareness, for education. And I'm trying to figure out the balance, and I worry, like, I don't want to alienate the people who are following me to learn how to plant a pollinator garden, or, you know, like to learn how to reduce their plastic waste. I don't want
Sure.
to alienate them, and at the same time, you know, I feel like obligated to the show in a good way. So what do you think about it?
I mean,
Can
that's
you
true.
help
Like
me?
that, what you're saying about Baker and the Beauty and the fact that that's your only TV show. Again, it seems like you just you feel really passionately about this specific project, and what luck that you feel passionate about it, because there are likely jobs, I mean, in the whole course of an actor's career, you're going to have jobs that you're not that excited about promoting. So it's really, it's interesting to hear that your heart is not always going to be in it. I think you can't tell from your social media. Your social media looks like you're a pro at it and you love doing it, and you're very good at it. I mean,
thank you. I'm just reading all the interesting comments here, because people like, they're, you know, people are split, like not too much, but you know, oh, thanks. Okay, yeah. Look, I don't think, I think it's important. This would be my advice. So when I was filming the show, I took 3 months off Instagram, and it felt like somebody had loosened the shackles from me. I didn't have it on my phone. I didn't have it on my iPad. And it was like when I was filming the show, because like I have to say I had the opposite experience filming Dynasty, which was a very social media heavy show. And you know, they'd say cut and you'd be like scrolling. And I just realized like I'm not getting a lot from this. It's actually like, it's actually filling my mind with things I don't need to be thinking about when I actually need to be getting into character. And I took the role of Noah Hamilton so seriously that I said, I'm eliminating Instagram while I'm filming. So actually that is my advice. If you're working, delete it. You don't need it. You've got the job. Now focus on the role and the job. But then when it's time to ramp up for promotion, of course, like you should use it appropriately. But yeah, I always try to like be really honest with my posts. Like the other one, like I'm saying honestly, like, hey guys, we need you to tune in live because these numbers do matter for, you know, our ratings. So look, I'm just being forthcoming. Good. Or I like to talk about like why I love the show. I think if I'm gonna do it, it has to come from that genuine place rather than just like tune in to see my new show. Like, yeah,
specific, honest. Yeah, it has to come directly from you. That's great advice.
Yeah. Also, I didn't know what I was talking about. Great.
You totally do. Well, it's also just true. Like social media can be very distracting. If you're on set and you're not completely focused on your acting job, that's going to be counterproductive to your character building process.
Oh my God, there is, and I have worked with actors like that, and there is nothing worse than like scrolling and action. And here we go. It's just like, honestly, I became such a, I don't know, like a kind of like old lady on this last gig where I wanted to impose a rule, no phones on set. Like I went from being like glued to my device to wanting to ban all the other actors from having it. And they shut me down. They were like, I'm sorry, some of us have like kids and things to do with. And I was like, okay, fine. But you know, like I don't like the energy, you know, especially. And what I love about the Baker and the Beauty is you can feel the chemistry between everybody, you know. And I'll tell you why, because Lisa Vidal and Carlos Gomez, they really set the tone as like these veteran actors where they're like just constantly like in their bodies, in their voices, in their comedy, like, and you don't want to be on your phone in this environment because there's always David Del Rio cracking jokes, Belisa Escobedo, amazing actors, but everybody's so amazing. We're actually connecting between takes, and then we roll, connect again, roll. And it's so much better than just like going back to our phones between takes. Like just energetically is much better as an actor.
Totally. That's great advice, Natalie. You're just a fountain of wisdom. Thank you.
Just call me Guru Nat.
That's what we like here at Backstage. We like the acting gurus. This has been so lovely. I gotta let you go. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for your fellow working actors here?
I do. And that is that the desire to tell stories like we all want to is so noble and so beautiful. And for as long as humans have existed, we have wanted to create stories and tell stories. Think about our oldest myths, you know. And so this desire, this creative spark within us is really sacred. And it's important to really honor that within yourself and honor the artist within you. No matter if you are a bartender or cleaning somebody's house, you know, you are an artist, and treat yourself that way and give yourself the space to create. And the final thing is that in this time of darkness, we are going to be given the opportunity to create the new world we want to live in. And I would hope that reflects new stories we want to tell, stories that have a lot more empathy and compassion for women, for minorities, you know, for all the people that we have not represented before, you know. It doesn't mean one needs to be elevated above the other. It's just an opportunity now to tell a different narrative. And we just got to ask ourselves, like, do we need another violent, dark piece of work? Like, there's a place for, like, that exists within the human experience, but I would like to see not cheesy, but more thoughtful, loving, compassionate, uplifting stories being told. So, you know, that's our responsibility as artists to tell those stories. So
totally. And like you said, it is an opportunity, even in these really dark, uncertain times. You can see it as an opportunity. Any artist, anyone who considers himself a storyteller. That's beautiful.
Yes. This is the time to write. This is the time to dream. This is the things. The old ways are being torn down now, and we have a chance to rebuild it yes, according to our dreams. So we've got to make sure our dreams are like vibrating in a high way. You know. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jack. Thanks for having me.
Nathalie, you are a guru. Thank you so much for joining us.
Middle name Sage, middle name Guru, Nat Guru Kelley.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And Nathalie, have a good one. Be safe. Be healthy.
Thank you. Everybody be safe out there. Bye.